So we're happy to be here with you today, hanging out where sports meets life. We thank you for being here with us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We hope you're having a fantastic day. Hope all is going well. Thank you so much for tuning into the broadcast here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So a lot of great stuff going on. Very excited to be here on a TGIF, and cannot thank you enough, like I said, for joining the show and being a part of Wake Up Call every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. So we're always here having some fun. Just want to make sure audio-wise we were good to go. But always here having some fun here on a Friday. And appreciate you so very much, like I said. So with that being stated, wherever you are, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, we appreciate you, or in Central and Upstate New York, in the state of New York in general, in our second home of Florida, up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, wherever you are and all around the world, on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, on facebook.com/wakeupcalldt, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. However you're tuning into the broadcast here today, we appreciate you tremendously for being a part of the show. So with that being said, we have an awesome show set up for you. You know, our trio of segments that come to you every single Friday inside of Ma and Pa's Popcorn.com's What's Poppin'. So we're going to start things off with the annoying moment of the week, and then we're going to jump in. Well, the annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt. Then we'll jump into Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-lib, and Deliver is what the acronym stands for, and that's proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay. Chick-fil-A Cicero currently closed for refurbishment as they work to bring you an even better experience at Chick-fil-A Cicero, if that's even possible, with all the amazing things they already do. So make sure you head off to Chick-fil-A Clay today, 3974 Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. We'd love to see you out here on Route 31, so appreciate that so very much for Chick-fil-A Clay. And Lead will be coming to you focused on the topic, time is precious. So we'll be focusing on that topic today. Time is precious, and excited to bring that to you this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. So we'll be doing that around 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Then we'll announce the top dog of the week, proudly presented by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding. That'll be coming to you here very soon at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We'll be announcing our top dog of the week, proudly presented by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding, as I mentioned before. And we'll round out the show with a very special live conversation, picture-in-picture with Kevin Greene. Kevin Greene, a former Syracuse player, part of the Syracuse Brotherhood forever, played on the football team as a running back and fullback back in 1987 to 1990. Excited to have him on the show to talk about faith, football, Syracuse then and now, and spreading positivity. So a lot of great stuff for your Friday, and an awesome message coming your way from Kevin Greene here in the second hour of the broadcast, coming up around 10:20 a.m. Eastern Time. He'll be joining us. So very excited for that, and very much looking forward to having Kevin on the show. So with that being said, without further ado, it's time to jump into the annoying moment of the week. One of my favorite things to do every single week, and it's our longest segment ever on Wake Up Call, and it's always been connected to Carvel DeWitt, our longest partner.
Dan Tortora proudly brings you...
Is that for real? Are you kidding me?
The annoying moment of the week.
I really, honestly, I don't know how to respond to this.
Presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street. It's what happy tastes like.
Do you have to be that crazy? I guess so.
The annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt. For this week, my annoying moment of the week, you know, there's a bunch of, and I know I say this all the time, that there's a lot of different places I can go, which is very unfortunate. That there's so many topics I could go to, but I think one of the annoying moments of the week that I'd have to key in on for today is when there's inconsistency. I think inconsistency is an easy, annoying moment of the week. And what I mean by that is when people are inconsistent, right? When you cannot rely on them or you cannot rely on certain places, it gets rather annoying. The lack of consistency is frustrating, right? That'd be frustrating to anybody when something is not consistent, when something is just not reliable, when someone's not reliable, when a place to go is not reliable. That lack of reliability, right? You want to be able to go somewhere and you want to be able to rely on someone. You don't want to go to a place and have things be different all the time. And I think that, reliability is something that's hard to find in this world at times. And when we find someone who is reliable, you want to hold on to it and appreciate it. I hope that you do, because it's not an easy thing to find. And so that's definitely got to be one of my annoying moments of the week, is finding reliability and consistency. Because that should be, to me, it should be a baseline of so many things. But it's not as easy to find as you may think. So hopefully reliability is something that we can find a little bit better, a little bit easier as time goes by. My other annoying moment of the week that I'd have to pick for this week is just, I think sometimes people being rude for the sake of being rude. I don't understand it. The attitude problem where somebody has something going on in their life and they take it out on somebody else. I think that that's ridiculous. It's you have a problem in your life potentially, which I hope you don't, but maybe you do. So you have somebody that's frustrating you or something that's going on that's made you upset, and then you take it out on someone else. So now what you've done is you've created two problems. You've created two problems, two issues. Because think about it. If somebody has bothered you, and now you're bothering someone else because someone has bothered you, and you're just passing on that anger, right? You got in a fight with your mom, and then you call up your girlfriend, you start screaming at her, and she's like, whoa, 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 I didn't do anything. Why are you screaming at me? Well, I'm just mad. I'm mad at my mom. Well, I'm not your mom. That happens all the time. And I've seen that happen where lack of consistency, lack of reliability, and then put on top of that the fact that some people just take things out on other people, and you're an innocent bystander to the whole thing. You have no idea what's going on. Some people just take things out. You haven't spoken to this person in maybe a few days or a few weeks, and when you talk to them the next time, they're upset, they're angry, they're in a bad mood. And what do people say to you sometimes? Sometimes, sometimes you'll have that friend that'll go, well, what did you do to them? And it's like, I don't know, I haven't talked to them. Well, you must have done something. So then you start getting paranoid, thinking to yourself, well, maybe I did something. Maybe I hurt this person. Maybe I did this. Maybe I did that. I would love it if people could be consistent. And I'm not saying that you have to be perfect, because everybody has a rough day and rough moments. But when you leave somebody in good standing, and you leave them in positivity, and you leave them with kindness, and you leave them with respect, I feel like you should come back and that should still be there, right? It shouldn't be like, if you put your keys on the table, then when you go to find your keys, they should be sitting on the table. So when you leave you leave your keys somewhere, that's where it should be. You leave the respect, right, in that place, in that relationship. When you come back, the respect should be there, like the keys on the table. And I don't understand what it is about today's world, but it seems like, people you got to constantly check in with people. Are you good? Are we good? Are we good? Are we good? And that to me is, it's a paranoid kind of schizophrenic type of world that I don't want to live in, because I don't feel like it's healthy to constantly, are we good? Are you good? Are we good? Are you good? Is everybody good? Are you good? Are you feeling good? And it's like, that's not the world that I am venturing into and saying, yeah, I want to do that. I want to live that way. I want to be constantly checking up on somebody, constantly seeing, are you okay with me? Is everything good? To me, that's not healthy. So I think, I know that for my annoying moment of the week this week, it's been, because I talked to my parents about this week. Some people are they're not consistent. Right? They're not consistent. And again, you never know what's going on in somebody's life, but at the same time, they don't know what's going on in yours. You know what I mean? You can't just be like, oh, sorry, I was a jerk to you. I had some stuff going on. And it's like, okay, well, you know what? Maybe I had some stuff going on too, and I didn't need another jerk in my life. I feel like so many people come from the angle of, this is what's happening to me. This is what's going on in my life. You need to understand me because this is what's happening to me. And it's like, well, life is happening to all of us. I don't have this thought in my head that I'm some king on a throne that can talk to people a certain way and then just get out of it by going, well, I'm Dan Tortora. I got a lot of stuff going on. Sometimes I'm a jerk because that's who I am, and it's cool because, I got stuff going on. I've never attacked life that way, where I'm the best. And, if I'm having a bad day, I'm going to make you have a bad day. And then you're going to apologize to me because you should know how tough my life is. It's like, no. I talk with people that are in wheelchairs for the rest of their lives. And they're happy. And they're excited to help other people and to do good and to be good in this world. And then you see people that, it's like, they have so many things in their life. They have so much going for them, and they're just rude. And then they don't apologize for it. It's like, I wasn't mad. You just heard me wrong. And the inconsistency and lack of reliability of some people has put me in a place where, like, I'll give someone a chance. I'll give you sometimes a chance after chance after chance. But I also pay attention to who's abusing those privileges. And then I get to a point where I go, you know what? I was kind to you from day one. I was kind to you 3 months from then, 10 months from then, 3 years from then. Always been kind to you, always been good to you, always been respectful, always been positive, always tried to remember things going on in your life and ask how you're doing to show you that I listen. And you have been consistently rude, aloof, unreliable, non-responsive. So I get to a certain point where I go, you know what? Then I don't want to talk to you. And if I'm in that place where I get to a place where I go, yeah, you know what? I don't want to talk to you. That means that you've made a consistent effort to be a pain in the tush. Because it takes a lot for me to say to another human being, you're not worth it. You're not worth you're worth life. God, there's worth in everybody. Not you don't have worth. But it's not worth me calling you. It's not worth me chasing you. It's not worth me trying to see whatever I'm trying to work on, because you're unresponsive and you're unreliable and you're not respectful and you're not kind and you treat me as if I'm a nuisance in your life when I'm trying to help or I'm trying to be there. There's some people that just leave you confused. You're like, I'm leading with goodness in my heart. I'm leading with love. I'm trying to do something nice. Why is this person unresponsive? And what I realized over time is, you can only try so many times before you go, you know what? Okay, I'm going to still be a nice person. I'm going to still be kind, but I'm not going to waste my energy. I'm not going to keep wasting it. And what these time wasters do to us is when we stop wasting our energy, they go, well, what would Jesus do? Well, Dan, I thought you believed in God. Wouldn't you continue to be kind? And it's like, hey, it has nothing to do with being kind. It has nothing to do with trying to emulate God in being nice to people and being good to people. What it has to do with is people abuse and abuse and abuse and abuse and abuse and abuse. And then when you stop letting them do it, they're like, well, I thought you were kind. I thought you were always going to be there for me. It's like, dude, it's a two-way street. You got to be there for them too. Just because I believe in God, just because I'm Christian, just because I'm Catholic, just because I have a close relationship with my Maker, doesn't mean that I'm going to sit here and be abused and listen to nonsense and have somebody consistently treat me like I don't matter. And Leonard said praying for them. And that's, and you do. You pray for those people, but you stay away from those people. And because life is precious. And as we're going to talk about in the next segment, time is precious. And your time is so valuable. It is so valuable. I have a friend going through a really, really, really tough battle right now. But there's never been a moment where he's like, I'm too busy for you, can't spend time with you. No, doesn't matter to me. Never. life is not easy, but surrounding yourself with people who don't value and appreciate you makes it harder than it needs to be. I'm going to say that again. Life is not easy, but being around people who don't appreciate and value you make life harder than it needs to be. It's already hard. But when you surround yourself with people that do not value you, do not care about the nice things you do not reciprocate, right? You ever have a friend where like you guys hang out and it's awesome, but you only hang out when you call them. You only get together when you call them. The only time you ever see them is when you call them. You have to call, you have to text, you have to instigate. Do you ever have a friend like that? And you think to yourself, man, I love our friendship. But then you get to a point where you go, all right, you know what? Let me not call them this week. Let me just wait. And then months go by and you're like, really? You know what I mean? And then you call them up and they're like, hey, what's going on? Da, 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 da. You know, like, let's get together. And you think to yourself, man, we have a good friendship when we're hanging out with each other, but how often are we hanging out with each other? Right? And are we only hanging out with each other when I'm making the effort to hang out? And I think that you have to be cognizant of that as a human being. You have to know when you're valued, and you have to know when you're not valued. And so it's my annoying moment of the week because I find myself treating everybody the same, treating everybody with kindness and goodness and respect, and trying to help everybody know that they are seen. But some people treat me like, whatever. I'll talk to Dan if I have to. I'll talk to Dan if I'm bored. I don't need to call him back. He's a nobody. And I will not disrespect those people, but I'm not going to keep calling you. And I'm not going to keep seeking you. Because it's not my job to keep punching myself in the face. So, but that's the hard thing. When you want to be a good person, and you work to be a good person, and you believe in God, right? God continues to seek his children. God continues to go toward his children. When his children push away, God says, no, but I love you, I'm right here. But God also gave us the free will. And God took a step back and said, if you love me, you'll show me. If you love me, you will. I'm not going to make you do it. So, as human beings, when someone says to us, well, you need to chase us, you need to chase us, you need to keep coming after us, you need to keep showing us that you love us if you're a good person. No. Not even God chases you. What does it say in the Bible? Seek God. It doesn't say God will seek you. God will come get you. You keep running away, God's going to grab you by your neck, bring you back to the house? No. Even God said, if you love me, okay, come find me. I'm here, but I'm not going to come drag you by your collar back to the house. And I think, me included, we spend time thinking, well, you know, let me try again. And you get to a point where you go, you know what? It's made me angry being in this situation. It's made me upset being in that situation, right? If you're in a romantic relationship and you're trying and they're not, it's not going to work out. And eventually you're going to resent them for what you're doing and what they're not doing because it's going to be disproportionate. If you're in a friendship and you're always seeing them, you're always traveling to them, you're always calling them, you're always making the effort, and they're just kind of waiting for your phone call, you're going to see the disproportionate, right? If you're a partner in business and you're at the restaurant 14 hours a day and they show up for 1 hour maybe and they drink at the end of the bar, they don't help anybody, they don't do anything, they don't set anything up, they just sit there, you're going to see it's disproportionate and you're going to resent that. And I feel like my parents say this to me all the time, and they said this to me growing up. They said, not everybody is like you. And it's one of the most frustrating things to hear. Not because my parents are frustrating me. It's one of the most difficult things to hear because it's true. Not everybody is like you. So when you say, hey, I did everything I could to show this person that they matter, to show them that I care. I'm trying to do this event with 20 different people and 19 people responded, and I keep going after this 20th person, and I showed them this, I sent them the same message, I showed them the same love, I gave them the same support, I was positive, I was kind, I was welcoming, I treated them the exact same as I treated everybody else. Why won't this person come? Why won't they do this? Why won't they be a part of this? And my parents say to me, not everybody's like you. Not everybody cares. Not everybody values things. Not everybody appreciates things. And it's a hard pill to swallow, and it's a tough thing to realize, but it's true. It's true. Life is not as easy as we thought it was when we were kids. And the thing that I think we need to hold on to is, as much as life is not as easy as maybe we thought it was going to be, it doesn't mean that you stop loving. It doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you stop praying. It doesn't mean you stop evolving. You stop learning. You stop growing. You actually have to do all that stuff. And God is teaching us something. God is always teaching us something. We have to be willing to listen to it, but God is teaching you something. And it's not to be mad at people. I don't think God's ever out here saying, my lesson for you today is to be really angry at people. No. There's a lesson, but it's frustrating and it's hard. It's really hard. When you love, and I can only speak from where I stand, and I want to help people. You love, and I can only speak, but I love and I appreciate people and I value people, and like they matter to me. So it's hard being in that situation. When you love deeply and you love truly, it's hard to be in a situation where people don't value you. It's very hard. Because it leaves you wondering if you don't have value. And that's the thing I don't want to feel, and it's the thing I don't want you to feel, is when you're not valued to then turn around and say, well, then I guess I'm not worth anything. If they don't value me, I'm going to forget the people that do value me. I'm going to focus on this one person that doesn't value me, or these people that don't, and I'm going to say I don't have any value because if I had value, they would have valued me. And that's not the truth. That's not the case. That's not reality. Not everybody is going to value you. Not everybody is going to want to date you. Not everybody is going to want to hire you. Not everybody is going to want to be your friend. And you say, well, I'm a nice person. I'm kind. I do all this stuff. Why would anybody not like me if I'm nice to people, if I'm honest, if I value them, if I have faith in God, if I have morals and values? And it doesn't matter to some people. And it doesn't mean that you don't matter. It just means that not everybody's reliable, not everybody's consistent, not everybody's going to be there. And it doesn't mean they're a bad person. But one of the hardest things to do is to realize that no matter what you do with some people, they may not want to be in your life. They may not want to answer the phone. They may not want to, as much as it makes no sense, they may not want to be there for you too. They may not want to be reliable to you too. They may not want to return the kind gestures that you give. And that is an unfortunate reality, yet it is a reality. That not everything that you give and everything that you do is going to come back to you. That's just the truth. I would love to tell you that every ounce of love you give to each person, it's going to come back to you. But you know what the thing is? If that person doesn't bring it back to you, I still think it comes back to you. God gets that love back to you some way, somehow. gets that love back to you, gets everything you give comes back to you. It may not come from the source you think it's going to come from, but it does come back to you, right? Maybe you treat 3 people the same and 2 people value it and 1 person doesn't. So you're like, well, that love's got to come back from that person. No, maybe those other 2 people, maybe their love is double. Maybe it's more fruitful in those other relationships. And that's where you see it come from. So what I could say to you this morning in the annoying moment of the week, because we always spin it to a positive, is yes, some people are unreliable. Some people are non-responsive. Some people are inconsistent. But it doesn't mean that you're not valuable. It doesn't mean you're not loved. And it doesn't mean you're not appreciated. If one person or a group of people or whoever doesn't appreciate you, it doesn't mean that God doesn't love you. It doesn't mean God doesn't appreciate you. And it doesn't mean that your value is below somebody else's. It just means that that person doesn't see the beauty that you are. And that's okay. That's why happiness comes from within and not from the outside. Because when happiness comes from the outside, when someone doesn't love and respect and appreciate your time and value you, then you think you have no value. But when you know that your value comes from God and it's from the inside out, then you find ways to navigate through when people are difficult and people are tough on you and mean to you and hard and difficult. There is tough love and then there's no love. Tough love's okay if it comes with respect. No love, that's not okay. But it's also going to be okay. Because as annoying as it may be to deal with some people where no matter how much good you do, you feel like they're just not connecting with you. It doesn't mean you're a bad person, and it doesn't mean stop being good. It means that person does not value and appreciate what you're giving for whatever reason. And that's okay. Because you shouldn't be giving to get. You shouldn't be saying, well, I did all this stuff, so now I need to get... No. Just be a good person. The remedy to every negative, ridiculous, inconsistent, rude, and unreliable situation you're in is to keep being a good person. Because it will come back. I believe that. And we're going to talk about time being precious in a direct connection to this. So don't stop being a good person. And if somebody doesn't value you, then move on. Move forward. Focus on the good in your life. Time is precious. We'll talk about it after this fast break.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks available to you on 639 Del Mar Place in Syracuse, New York, right off of Teal Ave, is open 7 days a week, from Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Make your way over to GG Cards and Breaks, the premier sports card shop. Listen, if you've never been in the hobby before, today is a great day to start at GG Cards and Breaks because they care. They're there for you. Sports card fans, they're sports fans first, right? And they care about, I have my favorite players, Fred Taylor, Damon Stoudemire, Randy Johnson. I've been fans of these guys since I was like 9 years old. Still collecting their cards, still looking for, different things, unique things that they have. I'm a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, so looking for that Trevor Lawrence rookie patch auto. There's a connection and a passion in the world of sports that spills over into sports cards, and that hobby parallels and goes hand in hand. When you're watching fantasy football or the Major League Baseball playoffs, there's a connection back to sports cards, and it's so awesome how it can help any age connect with one another. 70 years old to 6 years old. When we do our trade nights, you get to see everybody come together in the community of all different ages and backgrounds with something that they love, something that they enjoy, something that they value. GG Cards and Breaks brings that passion, that care, that connection that the community can always benefit from. So make sure you head out to GG Cards and Breaks today on 639 Del Mar Place in Syracuse, New York. Open Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, it's time to get into Lead. Learn, Evolve, Ad-lib, and Deliver is the acronym for this segment that we have, proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay. Chick-fil-A Cicero temporarily closed for refurbishment, so head off to Chick-fil-A Clay today on 3974 Route 31 in Liverpool. It says right on Route 31, 3974 New York, Route 31. In Liverpool, New York. You can't miss it if you're going out to like Great Northern Mall area where you see that sign to the Great Northern Mall that used to be. You could just go right over and get off if you're coming off the highway, you just get off, make a left, and it's right down the road. If you're on 31 and you're by the Great Northern Mall, you go away from that, keep it on your right. And if you're over by Target and Wegmans and all of that, well then it's going to be over there on the other side of Route 31 for you. So Chick-fil-A Clay, you can't miss it. 3974 Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. Head off there today. The topic for today's Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-lib, and Deliver, the acronym that I have for you every single Friday. The topic for today is time is precious. And like it has done so many times, Lead bonds back to the annoying moment of the week. And I blame God for that because I don't sit here and pre-plan out all my words, right? I speak from the heart. I say, okay, this is my annoying moment of the week. This is my topic for Lead. And then they always find a way to bond together. It just happens. And what were we talking about, right, in the annoying moment of the week? That my annoying moment is people that don't value you, people that don't appreciate you, people that no matter what you do, it seems like they're just inconsistent and they're unreliable. Some days they're nice, some days they're mean. They give you a little bit of hope and then they snatch it away. And it makes you frustrated and it makes you feel like, why is somebody treating me like this? And then you see them treat somebody else nice and then you start thinking, well, maybe it's just that I don't matter to them. I don't have value in their life. And that makes me sad when I feel that way or you feel that way. It's a sad way to feel. So I don't want you to feel that way. Time is precious. So let's discuss that. What does that mean? Right? It seems simple enough. Time is precious. Okay. So time is precious. It's important. Right? We should value it. We should value time. What's the definition of precious? Precious? It's used as a term to address a beloved person of great value, not to be wasted or treated carelessly. Not to be wasted or treated carelessly. What a great definition for precious in connection with time. Time is not to be wasted or treated carelessly. Your time is valuable. Do you know that? Do you know that? Do you live that? Do you celebrate that? Is that a part of your life? The notion, the reality that time should not be wasted. How do you do with your time? How do you treat your time? Right? I think we've all wasted time at some point. I know that I feel like I have. And I've wasted time. Could have gotten something done, didn't get it done. Could have been working on something, doing something else. Right? But time is precious because you can't get it back. Now, I'm 37 years old. My birthday is this month. I'm going to be 38. 37 years old. I feel like I'm 25 with my mind and everything. And at the same time, sometimes I feel like I'm 37. But I don't want to say I ever feel like I'm 37. I think, my neck got hurt this week, and that's why you see me kind of stretching like crazy because I've been uncomfortable. But, some people, well, that's you getting older. That's age, Daniel. And it's like, come on, man. Right? Life is precious. Time is precious. My grandmother always said, and she lived to be just shy of 101, you're only as old as you feel. And every once in a while she'd tell me she felt her age. But that was like twice in the 30 some odd years that I was on, that, her and I were on this planet together, physically. And now she's up in heaven having a great time. And I miss her and I love her. Time is precious. And I'm gonna connect it back to my grandmother. When I was down in Florida and I was working at Disney and working on ESPN Radio's affiliate down there, I got to a crossroads. And the crossroads were, do I come home or do I go to potentially Bristol, Connecticut to try to get on ESPN, the main ESPN? Do I go to their headquarters or do I come back to Syracuse? And I came back to Syracuse. I said, you know what, let me come back to Syracuse. Let me regroup. Let me take a little bit of time. Let me figure out what I want to do with my life. Well, my grandmother fell. My mom's mom, G-Mama, she fell shortly after I got home. It was in April. And I said, you know what? I'll go live with her, right? I'll go live with her. I need a place. I love her to pieces. It'll work out. I'll have a place to stay. I'll have a place to call my home base. And I'll get to spend some more time with her and take care of her. So I went there, right? Amidst coming home and everything going on, my other grandmother already had Alzheimer's. So my Gammy had Alzheimer's. My G-Mama, dementia. So my other grandmother was in a nursing home. So she couldn't travel, right? Some days forgot how to feed herself. So I was home. I was home to visit her, go visit her with my dad. On certain Sundays, we would just go, right? Bring her something, bring her a donut, have a good time with her, bring my dog Shady over to see her. So I look back on that time, and if I chose not to come home, if I chose not to be here, if I chose to go to Bristol, Connecticut, if I chose to go to California, if I chose to go wherever, I would have missed the time. I would have missed the time with my grandmothers because they could not travel. And I look back on that time in my life, and I say to myself, thank God I went home. Thank God I went home. Because I would have never had that time. I would have never had that time. So time, when we're talking about this, time is precious statement, it is. Time is extremely precious. And it's extremely difficult to deal with a life. It's very difficult to reflect on a life and say to yourself that you didn't value your time, right? You didn't value your time. You didn't make the most of your time. As precious as it is, sometimes, and I can point to stuff this week, There are times where I said, I didn't need to spend 15 minutes doing that. I could have been doing that. I could have gotten in the car. I could have gotten that done. There was that thing that I had to do that now I'm rushing to do on a Friday when I could have done it on a Tuesday because I had the time to do it on a Tuesday. Time is precious. And that time that I had with my grandmothers, if I had lived somewhere else, if I had made other choices, I wouldn't have been able to spend time with them. Not the same, not as much. And I'm thankful for that. I'm grateful for that. That I had that time, right? And I asked God at that time in my life, I said, guide me, help me. I have no idea where to go. I don't know what to do next. I don't know what my next move is. And I look back on my life like everything worked out. Everything, almost like the moves were supposed to be made that way, and I blame God for that. I blame God 1,000,000 times infinity for that. For helping me, for God getting me home. You know, who you spend your time with, what you spend your time doing. You wake up one day, and like I said, I feel like I'm 25 years old, right? I feel like I just got into my career. I'm excited to do it. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm energized. And time goes by, right? I don't know where 25 to 37 went. I genuinely don't know. I don't know where it went. I couldn't tell you. 25 years old to 37, I don't know where it went. But it went, right? And they say time flies when you're having fun. And there were some tough moments in there. There were some shaky moments in there. And if somebody said to me right now, if you could go back in time in the last 12 years, 25 to 37, and you could look at pieces where you wasted time and not do that, or do you have moments where you would go back and not waste your time on this or that? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There were relationships that I should not have wasted time on. There are tasks and things during the day that brought nothing into my day, gave little to no value to my day, right? That I could have gotten rid of. There's things that I didn't have to stay up until 1, 2 o'clock in the morning every night if I had just done a little bit of this here and a little bit of this there. There's a lot of things that I could go back. I don't live in regret. This is not a regret. Let me be clear about that. The reality that I live in is, of course, I could have done different things with my time. I think we can all say that. But I don't want to be sitting here 12 years from now at 49 saying, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm 37. But look at all this time that passed. And look at all these things I should have done differently. I can tell you that there's a lot of things that I'm sure we all would have done differently. But since we can't do these things differently because time has passed and you cannot go back in time, my question to you now is, where do we go from here? Where do we go from right now? How do we make sure that we treat time as the precious gift that it is now? Do we call up our grandparents? Do we go have lunch with mom? Do we hang out with dad? Do we play with our dog more? Because, there's things in your life that you sit there and you go, man, I need to spend more time doing this. And then a year goes by. 3 days go by, a month goes by, and you go, I got to spend more time doing this. I got to spend more time with my dog. Got to spend more time sitting with her. Got to spend more time playing with her. Got to spend more time showing her that I love her. And then a week goes by, and 2 weeks go by, and 3 weeks go by, and you travel, and then it's 3 months, and then you're like, I can't get those back. Well, I got to get them back. Well, let me try. Just do it now. And listen, it's not easy. It's not easy. If you have kids, if you have animals, if you have, obviously, you got your parents, some of us have siblings, some of us, like me, have siblings that have come through choices and not blood. So I got a bunch of brothers out there. So you have your friends, you have your family, you have your animals, you have your job, you have the things that are asked of you on a daily basis, a monthly basis, a yearly basis. And let me tell you something, folks. That list typically only gets longer. So as the list in your life gets longer, as your to-do list gets longer, as the things that you have to complete get longer, we keep waiting. Oh, you know what? I'll pay more attention to my dog when my list gets shorter. I'll travel when my list gets shorter. I'll spend more time with my mom when my list gets shorter. I'll pray when my list gets shorter. I'll meditate when my list gets shorter. Your list is never going to get shorter. It's only going to get longer, especially if you're a go-getter. Your list is only going to get longer. So you have to make a consistent effort to value your time and make sure you spend it wisely. You have to make the choice. You have to do it. It takes 3 weeks to create a good habit. It takes 3 weeks to create a bad habit. You have to decide what habits you're creating. And in those 21 days, once you get through those 3 weeks, it starts to become a part of your life. And then you decide if it's going to continue to be a part of your life. But I would suggest to you, beyond doubt, that whatever you would like to spend your time on, or you feel guilty that you haven't spent your time on, I would start making time today. Because the days only pass, time only ticks. You're not going to get the time back. Your list is not going to get shorter. It's not. It's not going to get shorter. So what you do with your time is up to you. So think about what matters. Think about what's healthy. Think about where you could take a little time from, and think about where you can give a little time to. And then do it. Because the only thing that stands between you and valuing your time is you. You know? You can sit here and say, well, Roger doesn't value my time, and Stacy doesn't value my time, and Tim doesn't value my time, and Keith doesn't value my time, and Laura doesn't value my time, and on and on and on doesn't value my time. But guess what? It doesn't matter. Do you value your time? Do you value your time? Your moments? Then live them. It doesn't matter who doesn't value them. It sucks, but it doesn't matter. It matters if you value your time. Because we keep giving the keys to our lives to other people. God gave us a set of keys and a car to drive. Right? Think of your body like a car. If you don't treat it well, if you don't take care of it, if you don't wash it, true. If you don't wash your car, if you don't clean your car, if you don't vacuum out all that bad stuff, then your car's dirty, right? If you don't take care of it, then it breaks down. Your body breaks down when you don't take care of your body. God gave you keys for your car, for your life, for your body, for your vehicle, your mind, your heart, your soul. What you decide to do with your time, what you decide to do with your body, with your mind, with your heart, with your soul, what you focus on, what you ingest, how you treat yourself, that's going to determine whether or not that car starts, whether or not that car runs. 9 times out of 10. Right? Because we can't control everything in life. But the things we can control, we need to do a better job. All of us. We can sit here and say this country is in shambles. We can sit here and say that this world is unrecognizable. But we could also stop talking about it and do something about it. Right? Talkers are everywhere. Everybody's a talker. Everybody can do something better than somebody else. Everyone talks. I'm better than LeBron James. I can shoot threes all day. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, then go do it. Then go do it. Go do it. Show us. Nobody wants to hear from the friend who every time you call and say, yeah, we're playing ball this week, and he's like, I got a sprained ankle. I'm tired. My girlfriend just called me. I'm watching a TV show. But what does he tell you every time he sees you? I could shoot threes and cross everybody over. Nobody could stop me. I'm the best basketball player that ever lived. But he never plays basketball with you. So he's just talking. A lot of people talk. How many people are going to do something about it? What are you going to do to make the world a better place? What are you going to do to make your home a better place? What are you going to do to make your life better today? Because you can control that. You can control what you do, what you say. You can control that. And I suggest that you do. Because I want to make this world a better place, and focusing on the fact that it's not the place that I want it to be is not going to make it a better place. It should be a second of realization. Okay, this world is not what I want it to be. And then the majority of your time should be spent making it better. Don't spend all your day thinking about, wow, this world is crappy. I've had crappy things done to me this week. Stupid, idiotic things that I should have spent no time on, no mind on, and paid no attention to. But I had some people mean in my life this week. I had some hateful people in my life this week. I had some negative ridiculousness happen to me in my life this week. And you know what? I said to my dad, why is it bothering me? And he said, you know what, son? I don't know. I don't know. Because these people don't matter, and their opinions don't matter, and they don't know you. And they're being mean to you off of something so tiny, so minuscule, that wasn't mean, wasn't negative, wasn't bad. It was just an opinion. And I said, Dad, but it hurt my feelings. And he was like, yeah, but it shouldn't. It shouldn't. These people don't matter. These people came into your life as total strangers, were rude for a second, walked away. They're probably doing it to everybody. Right? If someone's first thing to do, their first action, their first words out of their mouth when they meet a new person is to be a total jerk, that's a very unhappy person. Right? You don't scour the internet, scour the world to go be mean to somebody. Some people do, and that's disgusting, and your life is outrageously probably not what you want it to be, and I hope that it gets better, because that's a horrible life to live. But when I wake up in the morning, I think, number one, I'm alive. Yes. Right, I got another shot to do this thing. Number two, is Lily okay? My puppy. Then I pray that all my loved ones are alive. I thank God for waking me up in the morning, which should be first. Thank God for waking me up in the morning, realizing that I'm alive. I check on Lily. I pray to God that all my loved ones are alive. I pray we have a great day, that we're all healthy, safe, and happy, that time goes by slowly, that we have a great day and night and so on, whether we're traveling or staying put, that God forgives us of our sins, heals us from everything that's going on in our lives, no matter how big or how small, and helps us to stay connected to our loved ones, even through death, because dying you destroyed our death, and rising you restored our life. I pray that consistently. I could be more consistent, but I mean it every day. It's in me every day, that prayer. So, if time is precious, which it is, and I'm sitting here today at 37, thinking to myself, where did 25 to 37 go? Well, that's a reminder to me so much this morning how precious time is, because it feels like it flew by. And I want to live every day of my life, and I don't want to miss a beat, and I want to keep these good memories right here, top of mind. I want my mind to be. I don't want to just live life. I want to experience life. I want to give to life. I want God to be with me every step of the way, and I want to have fun. So I better start living, right? Time better be precious, right? Same for you. Okay? We all got watches. And phones that tell us what time it is. What are you doing with that time? Don't let it tick by you. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. We'll come back with the top dog of the week and Kevin Greene coming up in hour number 2.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942. And tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge, and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item, available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating. Find them at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York, open Monday through Saturday in-store and all the time online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, you can order all throughout the country at maandpaspopcorn.com. And remember to get your tins, which have in-store half-price refills forever. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, available to you for fundraising and all of your events by calling 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare it to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. Appreciate you being here every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and we are in hour number 2 of our Friday broadcast, which means that it is time for the top dog of the week. Top Dog of the Week, proudly presented by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding. Make sure you head out there for your home, away from home, for all of your dogs, big and small. Canine Camp Dog Daycare, available to you on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, New York, and you can call them at 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110. They fill up quick, so make sure you call them as soon as possible. And, of course, you can go to Kamp.com for more information. And for the campground right around the corner from the daycare, you can find the campground on 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, and you can call them at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013, and get more information on the Canine Campground Dog Boarding by going to Kampground.com. So make sure you do that today to make sure that your dogs have a great place to go, a safe place to go, and a home away from home for short and long-term care. Whatever's going on in your life. Maybe you're renovating the house, maybe you're going on vacation, whatever's happening, make sure your dog has a great place to stay where they're going to be loved, appreciated, and treated oh so well before they get to see you once again. So, a lot of great stuff happening at Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding. I cannot thank them enough for all that they've done with Lily and with so many dogs in our community of Central and Upstate New York. With that being said, my top dog of the week for this week, who will I choose to be my top dog of the week? My top dog of the week for this week, I would have to say, is Josh Gideon. And I'm going to say it's Josh Gideon of GG Cards and Breaks. And the reason why I say that it's Josh is because him and I have had a lot of heartfelt conversations, right? And when I look for companies to partner with and work with. I don't just look for businesses to be like, hey, give me money, that'll be great. I look for good people. I look for kind people. I look for people that care about their business, that get involved in their business, that are positive, that care about their workers, care about the people that are a part of their team, care about the people that come through the door. Whatever business it is, wherever it is, somebody who genuinely cares, knows that their time is precious, spends it wisely, and is thinking about everybody else, not just themselves. And I want to give Josh a spotlight today because I want to thank him and his entire staff at GG Cards and Breaks. I want to shout out Anthony. I want to shout out Joel and Alex and everybody because you're a part of this. When you care the way that they do, and that leadership starts with Josh and goes, and that whole team, when they care the way that they do. 9-year-old me walks into a sports card shop. Huge part of my life. Changes everything. When I, as a kid, walk into a sports card shop and I'm treated with respect and appreciation and a smile, and every time I come back, they remember me, they remember my mom, they remember my dad, they remember my grandma. That meant more to me than I can say. Huge part of my childhood. I can go right back to it instantaneously. Then all these years pass. 2 decades. We talk about time being precious. And I say to myself, I might never find a sports card shop again in my community that makes me feel the way that I felt when I was 9 years old. And I felt so appreciated and valued. It made me love the hobby even more. Then I walked into GG Cards and Breaks on Father's Day with my dad. And I was met by Joel. He was very kind, very nice, very helpful. If he didn't know the answer, he told you he didn't know it. Didn't lie about it. If he knew the answer, then he'd give you the answer. And when he didn't know the answer, hey, let me make a call. Let me figure out. Let me do what I can. This is what's over here. This is what's over there. You need anything, you let me know. At 37 years old, 9-year-old me is alive and well. Because when I walk into GG Cards and Breaks and I see these people, I know that they love the hobby, they love what they do, they enjoy what they do, they have a wonderful time, they remember the people that come through their door, they appreciate the people that come through their door, and they want to succeed, and they want to succeed together. They want to help each other. So why did I say Josh is my top dog of the week and his team? Why did I say that? Because Josh and I have had a lot of conversations. And the conversations that we've had have been so much about life and about valuing people and about trying to make it all work, right? Trying to balance. We're all trying to balance in our lives. We're trying to juggle so many things in our lives, right? We are trying over and over again to do everything that we can to make sure that our families are good, we're good, whatever we do in our line of work, that's good, right? We're juggling it all. And I want people like Josh to know and his team to know that as you juggle, as you go through life, as you work late hours, as you get there early and you stay late, it's appreciated. It's valued. It's welcomed
Recording
into my
in
life
progress.
because I get
Recording
it, I
stopped.
understand it, I know it, I value it, I live it every day. And it is in that kindness and in that goodness that I can sit back here today in my community and say that I'm very grateful to be a 37-year-old big kid still going to sports card shops and getting to meet people that care, that have fun, that enjoy it, and that value that. it's a difference maker when you're around people that are passionate, honest, caring, joyful, and they want to see other people happy. They want to see other people win. So my top dogs of the week, GG Cards and Breaks, led by Josh Gideon, with a shout out to Anthony and Joel and Alex and the team, because your kindness, your generosity, your taking of your time and going the extra mile makes the 37-year-old me go back to being 9 years old, walking through a sports card shop for the first time. And memories like that can only be created when people have goodness in their hearts. And I appreciate that so very much. Top dogs of the week. Thank you to everybody for watching and listening and supporting over at Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding. You can reach them today by going to 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse for the daycare, and around the corner on 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse for the Kampground. Top dogs of the week coming to you every single Friday around 10 a.m. Eastern time. And now I have the opportunity, and I'm going to jump right into it. We were going to take a step aside, but I don't feel like it, because I don't want to waste a second in getting this gentleman on the show. Him and I talk daily, and it is his fault that we do that. And I love that. I love that. He keeps me honest. He's a good friend, and he's a kind-hearted person. And when I'm speaking about him here, of course, I'm speaking about Kevin Greene, and Kevin joining us here picture in picture. So excited to have him here on the broadcast with me on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora as we bring him in, speaking on faith, Syracuse then and now, and positivity. This gentleman sends me messages throughout the week, and they are always inspirational. They seem to hit on time all the time. And I want to read the one that he sent me today. It says, sometimes your mind needs more time to accept what your heart already knows. What a difficult thing. We started the show with the annoying moment of the week with people that don't always value you and value your time and value who you are. Reading that message today, sometimes your mind needs more time to accept what your heart already knows. He makes me think in the morning, makes me have to deal with life head on, and look at a message and say, hey, Dan, guess what? Let it go, or hold on to it, or get past it, or learn from it. But you know what? All jokes aside, the messages that Kevin sends me have been changing my life for the better. So without further ado, I bring in my friend and former Syracuse running back and fullback, Mr. Kevin Greene. Kevin, how are you?
Good morning, Dan. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing very well. So how is life? How's everything going? I got a bunch of people out here showing you love and support, knowing you were going to be on the show today. So how's everything?
Everything's good. You know, when you reach out to me and you ask me to join, this is my third time coming on the show. I'm going to show you all the love and support, because all the love and support you show the program. But outside of the football element, you know, you and I really connected on this thing called faith. And we connected just through having various conversations. And then one day I saw something on your Facebook page, and you were talking about faith. You were talking about life.
Oh, I lost you here for a second. Can you hear us? We lost him here for a second. Let's see here. We lost the audio for Kevin. So, we can't hear you. Let me see here. So, we temporarily lost our connection here audio-wise. You'd still see him on video. So what we'll do is we'll bring Kevin back in and make sure that we can get him here. So we'll bring him back into the broadcast. I know exactly where he was in his thought, so let's bring him back in here, because I want to make sure that we can not miss a moment here. This is modern technology, folks. So it's all good. It's all good, but sometimes the audio
Recording
goes out
in progress.
here
Recording
and shows all over the world, including ours. So we'll bring Kevin back in. We'll get him set here, and we'll continue our conversation with him. So let's bring him back into the broadcast and get him set and ready to go here on the conversation. Kevin, can you hear us? All right.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I could hear you now. So let me go ahead and bring you back in here. So you said we connected on this thing called faith, and go ahead from there.
Yeah, I saw one of your messages one day on Facebook, and I saw you were talking about life, talking about difficult times and stuff like that. And I was like, let me reach out. So I send out those messages daily, every day, to almost 70 people, friends, family, teammates. And it all started for me when I went through my rough patch in life, early 2013, going through a divorce, getting downsized, and just really in a dark period of life, when someone sent me a text message just randomly out of the blue that they were just checking on me, and it meant the world to me. And I said, if I'm feeling this way, I know there are other people in my world, in my element, that are going through rough patches. Let me share this with them. So it just blossomed into that. I get it from other people, and then I send it out to you, connected with you, start sending it to you, because you never know what someone is going through. A lot of times people don't openly talk about the difficulties that they face. They kind of keep it inside. And I think what those text messages do when I send them out, it just shows people that you're not in this alone. We all go through this. And it's just a way of uplifting and keeping everybody motivated first thing in the morning. That's rough for me. This week I was in Dallas, so I'm an hour behind everybody. So all my messages came out late. So I'm getting text messages from people saying, "Hey, where's my message at?" I'm like, "I'm sorry, I'm traveling. I'll get it to you." But that's how it all started, Dan. And then I incorporated you into the family, and it's just taken off from there.
Yeah, and speaking here once again with Kevin Greene, Syracuse Orange running back and fullback alum, you speak on that message that you received going through a tough time in your life. And when you received that message, just what it meant to you, that somebody thought of you in that moment. And isn't that what it is, right? It's knowing that somebody thought of you, right? And I started the show discussing in the annoying moment of the week, what do we do when we're good to everybody? We treat everybody the same, and some people respond positively and some people don't respond. Some people don't care. Some people don't show that love, show that appreciation. I've been through that before where, I was connected to an organization and there's, let's say, like 20 different people all at the same level. And I reach out, I treat them all the same. I show them all love. I show them all a spotlight. I gave them opportunities that nobody else had given them before that I had known of. 18 of them, great. 2 of them, nah, not going to answer the message, not going to answer the phone call. When I see you in public, I'm going to rush you, shake your hand, and run away. But they were all treated the same. And I started the show discussing that, and I'd love to get your thoughts on it. How do you deal with when you're nice to an entire room and part of that room says, "Thank you, Kevin, I appreciate that, I'm going to be nice to you," and the other part of the room goes, "Screw you, I don't care"?
We had this you and I talked about the same topic a couple of months ago, so I'm glad you brought it up. It, like you in the beginning, it really used to bother me. Like it would really it would not hurt. Well, it would hurt my feelings. How I would reach out to people and connect with people and say things to them, but that when I would see them or I wouldn't get a response back from them, that it made me feel some kind of way. And I would question, well, what did I do wrong? Was it me? Was it something I said? And then I just started thinking about it, and more I got into the Bible, and the more and more I started listening to Pastor Jenkins at my church, First Baptist Church of Brewerton Rd, and it's just about, I only can focus on the positive things in my life, and I can't worry about the people who can't accept me for being who I am and the way that I'm built. So I had to stop worrying about the outside force. I had to stop worrying about the people who didn't reply back, and just focus and realize that the main important thing was this, Dan, is I'm not doing it to win their votes. I'm sharing what I'm sharing because I believe it in my heart. It's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
So if you don't respond back, if you don't greet me with the same type of love and enthusiasm that I've been giving out to you, I'm still going to send it to you. I'm still going to text it to you every day. When we see each other in person, I'm still going to talk to you and be the same exact way. So I'm not looking for the love back in return. I get all the love I need. My dad is on here. That's one of my biggest inspirations. So I get all the love I need from my friends and my family, the people who know me and love me. So if you don't respond back, if you don't reciprocate, it's cool. But I'm not going to stop doing it. I'm doing it because that's what God wants me to do.
Yeah, and I feel like, we've had, on Wake Up Call, there's been over 4,500 guests. And I would think we left everybody the way we found them. We left them with positivity. Hey, you can always come back. You're always welcome. But over the years, you get a couple where, again, you treat them the same way. You treat them with goodness. You treat them with kindness. But they don't answer that phone call. They don't answer that text message. Then when they see you in person, they act like you didn't send them a message 47 times over the last year. How do you deal with something like that when you have built good relationships and then you go to revisit those relationships and sometimes people are just different?
There's no real way you can handle it other than just move on with your life. And if they're not willing to reciprocate, they're not willing to accept you for who you are, Dan, you got to let it go, because they're not going to impact your life. They're not going to hurt your life. The things that God has laid out for you are meant for you, and no one can take that away from you. So, you and I talked before, you can express and open up your doors, open up your arms to anybody in the world. Yeah. And if they don't reciprocate it, don't take it personal. You did nothing wrong. There's nothing you can do to force someone to come back and say hi. There's nothing you can force someone to say, hey, I got your phone call. I forgot to call you back. I got busy. I got tied up. I got doing whatever. You just can't do it. I had a really good friend of mine, and he had a theory and said, people do what's important to them.
Yeah.
And you really got to think about that. People do what's important to them. So if it's important to them to reply back to your text message or to genuinely start that friendship with you or to continue that friendship with you, they're going to do it. And if it's not important to them, they're not. But you can't let that stop you, Dan, from who you are and from doing what you want to do. I love the fact that you're positive. I love the fact that you bring on a bunch of old athletes on here and we all talk about stuff. I laugh all the time. Kevin Greene is a household name at Bishop McDevitt High School, but Kevin Greene isn't a household name at Syracuse. No, not a whole lot of people know about me playing football at Syracuse, other than the folks who are really connected to the program. For you to show the love that you have shown to me, coming on your show, talking about the program, talking about life, see, that's a connection for me that's well outside of football that I'm going to continue to flourish and continue to develop it, because there's so much more outside of football in this thing called life.
Yeah.
But what got us connected together was Syracuse University. And because of that, I'm grateful.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that I don't even think it's about, and I don't think about that. I'm not like, hey, I want to be a household name. You know what I mean? Like I want everybody to be like, Dan Tortora. No, if I'm set in your household, then I want it to be like, hey, you know what? I was having a rough day. He was nice to me. And it's the same thing with you, Kevin. There's so many moments, so many times where we've interacted, and you talked about you went through a divorce, you went through a tough time, somebody reached out to you. Well, it'll be a couple days from now, it'll be around 5 years since my splitting that turned into a divorce. Yep. And so I was married for like 4.5. Now I'll be divorced for 5. And I look back at that time, and there's a bunch of stuff that happened on a Saturday night into Sunday morning. And I just remember my mom saw it firsthand. I saw it firsthand. And I was kind of done. I had been done for about 1.5 years. And because I didn't like the way I was being treated. There was not a reciprocation of like, there's love coming from my heart. She wanted money. There was, hey, let's work on us. Let's hold hands more. And she was like, let's go drink. And so there was a difference between the two of us. And so when everything ended on that Sunday morning, and she said what she said, and she did what she did, and I said, if you walk out of this house, it's done. I said, if you leave this house and we're not going to work on this together. You're not coming back to this house. We're done. And when she left and I sat there on the step, I had to say to myself, all right, you said if you got cheated on, you wouldn't be with somebody, you'd move forward. You said if somebody did you dirty, that you would move forward. You said you would have the strength to not stay in a toxic place and move forward. Now God is going to make you put it all where your mouth is. Are we going to do this? Are we going to move forward? You said that you would always value yourself and respect yourself. Now you have a chance where you have to do this on your own. All the bills, those are now the things you split, those are all yours now. Taking care of the dog, that's all you now. The house, that's all you now. And Lord knows I don't like trimming hedges and mowing lawns and stuff like that. So, I look back at that day, and that was a Sunday. And on a Monday morning, my mom said to me Sunday, she goes, "What are you going to do Monday? You going to do your show?" And I looked at her like she was crazy. And I said, "Yeah." And she's like, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah, Ma. She took enough from me. She's not going to take my happiness. She's not going to take my dreams. She's not going to take my drive. God gave me this. I'm not going to give it back to him because of what some human being did." And I got on the air and I did my show that day. And that Monday and that Tuesday, I got messages from people all over saying, "Thank you for speaking about adversity and going through tough times, because I'm going through a tough time with my mom. I'm going through a tough time with my son." And I thought to myself, and I sat there and got emotional, and I said, if I didn't share my pain, these other people watching and listening would not think that they had a place to go to share theirs. And now we're sharing it together, which in a way is going to make their burden lighter and my burden lighter. And I'll never forget that day, that if I didn't go on the air that day and I didn't face my adversity, I would have never gotten those messages from the people saying, "Thank you for saying what you said. Thank you for being real, because I'm going through a tough time and I needed to hear that."
Mm-hmm. So yours was that. My tough time when I went through it, the thing that I had to focus on, the fact that at that time I had 3 young kids. And even though I was going through my life adversity, it was my role as their father for them not to go through that adversity. So it was my role as their father to make sure that we still went out. We still had good times. We still went to the movies. We still took mini vacations. I still had to focus on doing the things that as a father I was supposed to do for them. Yeah. So that's what it was all about for me. It was all about making sure that those 3 human beings still enjoyed life, still had a great time, and still did everything. Part of that time when I was going through that as well, my best friend, Ryan O'Neill, Ryan and I have been friends going on almost 38 years. Ryan should have been a household Syracuse name. Ryan was coming in as a quarterback with me when we came in the class of 86. Went through the Prop 48, wound up transferring, going elsewhere. But he's been my best friend since we went on our recruiting trip to Syracuse, December 7th, 1985. We have been best friends ever since then. And during that time in my life, he got diagnosed with a rare form of cancer, a rare form of lymphoma cancer. And he had to have brain surgery. He had to go through getting a bunch of stuff. And it was important for me to stay strong and positive around him when he's laying in a hospital bed with tubes and everything, and his wife and his kids there, the group that we all hung out with. It was really important for us that when we were around him, he saw us upbeat and saw us energized, because we needed him to fight for what was going on in his life. And we needed him to be upbeat and to be energized. So like you said, Dan, you take the look away from yourself and you put it on other people, because we have a responsibility of taking care of the folks that are around us. We have a responsibility of taking care of our family. So, my adversity was keeping my kids happy, and then make sure that my best friend, who was going through the worst patch in his life, knew that he still had the support and the love from me and all our crew to see him through a very difficult time. And I can say now, looking on it some 10 years later, He is cancer free. He's been in remission going on 3 or 4 years now. He lost weight. He got all his fat weight back, so I can tease him now and say that he's fat and I'm slim. But you know, it's just those phases in life that God takes you through it, and He takes you through those phases for a reason, Dan. Yeah. You may not understand it when it happens, but eventually the light goes off, and then you understand why you do it. My mom says He's an awesome guy, and He's always on time. The song says He may not be there when you want Him, but He's always right on time. So there's a reason you go through those adversities, but when you come out at the end of it, Dan, you're going to be a much greater person.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I had my 20-year high school reunion, which is weird for me because I don't feel that old to have a 20-year anything reunion. But I had the 20-year high school reunion, and nobody had known that I was married because I didn't really keep in touch with anybody from high school because whoever was close in my class, I felt like an outsider in my class. I was in a very cliquey school, and so I would go and talk to everybody, right? I read comic books. I was good in class. I played basketball. Like, I didn't fit any of, like, the little tiny whatever cliques that were there. And so I just was nice to everybody. And that apparently was not well received 20 years ago. And so my mom's like, are you going to go to your reunion? And I said, yeah, because I said, you know what, Mom? I'm not going to the reunion to make anybody feel good. I'm not going to make myself feel good. I'm not going to get anybody's, approval. I'm not going to get back at anybody for anything. I said, the man that I am 20 years later could take care of the boy I was 20 years ago. And that, to me, is my victory. And that comes from God and time and work and being together and me finally listening to Him. And so I went to my reunion, and being around all these people that don't usually interact with you, it was like, well, how, we're just talking. And I said, oh, when I was married, nobody knew I was married. And I said it in a way of saying I was, now I'm not. Like, I was just kind of like, hey, let me get this out of the way. Like, no, I'm not married, whatever. And I talked to 3 people. Nobody knew I was married. So I said, all right, I'm going to stop bringing it up. And one of the, 2 of the people said to me after I said I was married and divorced, they were like, oh, it's probably for the better. Then another person was like, oh, someone else in our class is going through a difficult divorce. I go, what do you mean somebody else? I didn't say mine was difficult. I was like, I went through what I went through, but I'm good. And I think that, people, I think it's interesting because I was okay with it. I'm upset because I'm 37. I don't want to say I'm upset anymore. I have my moments, but I was upset at 37 years old saying I want to be a father. And I want to genuinely have love. At 37 years old right now, I was the kid who wanted to, Boy Meets World life, get married, meet a girl in a sandbox, 4 or 5 years old. She's the love of my life. We get married. It's great. Well, I have that strong love on my side. This world and what it's shown me with dating, y'all are crazy out there. And so, and they are nuts. And so to me, it's like, I want to be a dad, but I've kind of like lost that, belief that I can find a woman who's going to equal me out. And I'm sure that there's women out there that feel that way too about men, but that's kind of like where I'm at is I have enough comedy in my stand-up tour. I look at my mom now and I go, Ma, you know what I have in the arsenal? And it's like people are just throwing matches at my dynamite right now. Like, when they light this thing, everybody needs to get out the way. But the way that I feel is, I was this guy that always wanted it, right? I always wanted it. Mm-hmm. Now I'm 37 years old, and I care more about the thought of being a dad someday than any belief that there's a woman out there in today's world that has the God values and the faith and the morals and doesn't have 17 different boyfriends and doesn't want to put a label on us. Like, I'll tell you this, Kevin, and it makes me sad, but it's true, and I need people to hear this around the world so you know you're not alone. I have talked to numerous women over the last couple years, and the conversation dies within the first 2 times talking, and 9 times out of 10 we never see each other. And I'll tell you why. Do you believe in God? Yeah, I do. Oh. And that's the end. And I never thought that that would be a deterrent. But my belief in God, which I don't push on anybody, I have found a lot of anger and questioning and kind of rude behavior in dating. When you tell someone you believe in God, she thinks you're sexy, you're funny, you're kind, you're successful, and then you put God in there and she goes, I don't think it's going to work for me. And go ahead.
How'd she think you got funny, sexy, and kind? You didn't just do that on your own. Somebody gave you the talent, the God-given talent to be able to do that. And what I'll say to you is this, Dan. You don't have to be in a relationship with a woman for you to be a father. There are a ton of kids out there right now that are out for adoption, fostering, that would love to be able to be in a household with someone like you as their father. So don't let the fact that you're not married and you're 37 years old stop you from that. If that's a passion that you have in your life, that you want to open your heart, you want to open your love, you want to open your house to a child, man, go out and adopt. You don't need to be in a relationship for you to be able to offer that love and care to a child that's out there.
No, and I appreciate you saying that, because it's, you know, we come from a family of adoption, and I call them my 2 little brothers, and because to me they're more like brothers than cousins. Nico and Miguel. Nico's from Peru, Miguel's from Guatemala. They look like my aunt, my mom's sister. They look just like her. If you never told anybody they were adopted, they would think those are her kids. She had them biologically. I mean, they look like they were. And again, the God in all of it. Like, yep. How does she adopt 2 kids that grow up and have the same skin tone and look like brothers and look like her children, if not for God? Because we're not related. But I tell everybody all the time they're my brothers. And I will tell you something that I do, and I hope that the women out there don't see this, but I keep a picture of them as little kids. And if a woman's crazy, I pull it out and I go, these are my boys.
Everybody, you saw the movie Coming to America, the first one with Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall, and they were going through the speed dating thing, and they were dating and mating all these crazy women. Can you imagine Eddie pulling up the picture like, oh, these are my boys?
Yeah, these are my kids right here. But I do. That's my back pocket. That's my ace in the hole, right? That's my. Oh yeah. I said I didn't have kids. Well, I kind of do. You know, these are my boys. But yeah, I mean, it's such a, you know, the older I get, the more I kind of look at this world and I say to myself, God to some people is a virus. Mm-hmm. Confusing. Honesty, I mean, being in the media and being an honest, caring person who values everyone that I talk to and interview and sit down with, that is a rarity. Honesty is a rarity. Someone who's in the media who's not cutthroat and stealing from people and lying and cheating and like going on other people's websites and using all their information, that's a rarity. Not giving people credit giving people credit is a rarity. So it's like I'm surrounded in my daily life of this like world that when I was a kid, if you didn't believe in God, you got slapped in the back of the head. You were taught to be honest, kind, generous, you know, empathetic. And now at 37 years old, it's like if I had a nickel for every media outlet that stole something from me, I'd be sitting in a billionaire's house right now. So I just look back on things and I say to myself, what a crazy world that everything that my parents tried to build within me and my grandparents build within me and that I felt like was already in me from God, I have to, I feel like I get up in the morning defending it now. Defending God, defending honesty, defending kindness, defending doing things the right way. And in 2023, Kevin, you know, when you say something to someone like, well, this is common sense, what do they say? Well, people's common sense is different. Well, then it would be uncommon sense. My ex-wife said that to me one time. She goes, your common sense and my common sense are different. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. That would be uncommon sense. So, you know, you look at things now and you say, well, that's the right thing to do. What does somebody say to you in today's America? Well, that's your right thing to do, but my right thing is a different right thing. How did we get to a place where everything was gray and nothing was right and wrong?
Yeah, that's a tough time. We live right now in a society that's very turbulent. You know, we've got the political fighting from the left side and the right side, and you know they're going back and forth with each other. We've got the situation that happens in Congress. You know, right now with McCarthy losing his speakership and everything, and then we had 4 years of a president that was, I think, for a lot of America, or some of America, not a lot, let me rephrase that. For some of America, he had different values and beliefs that some of us had. And I think a lot of that kind of caused the friction that we're in right now. But through all of that, Dan, that's when we need to lean on our faith. That's when we need to lean on the teachings that God instilled in us. You know, that's when we start to really hone in on what's really important to us. Am I really truly living my life the way God wants me to live my life? Or am I letting outside forces distract me from doing that? And you know, I find myself getting caught up in that because of some of the political stuff that had happened, and I found myself getting angry about some things. And you know, I'll be transparent and open that I've ended some friendships that I had with some people because of them being on the other side of the political aisle versus where I am because of their beliefs and my beliefs. And you know, my eyes got opened a whole lot when the whole George Floyd incident happened because, you know, as an 18-year-old kid, I was George Floyd. What happened to George Floyd happened to me as an 18-year-old kid, you know, standing on the bus stop, leading football practice. So I had that personal experience in my life, and I know how it impacted me. And there were some people that I just didn't feel in my life that I needed them to be in my life anymore. Because when I was going through a moment of time that was very painful and hurtful to watch, they didn't get it. They didn't see it, and they didn't want to see it. You know, I would get those calls as, hey, help me understand what it's like, or help me understand what you've gone through. And you would have that one initial call, and then boom, you would never hear from them again. So it just made you take a step back, Dan, and realize what's really important to you. And what do you value? And if that's your faith and that's following God's teachings, then that's all you can lean on, and you can't worry about the outside forces.
Yeah, you know, and here with Kevin Greene, Syracuse Orange running back and fullback alum, and a friend of mine above all of that here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You know, that I feel, you know, I have a friend, we do a thing bi-monthly called Blessings in Baseball. And Dukes Knutson, who's the press box manager for the Tampa Bay Rays, we talk about we talk about our faith, we talk about God, and we, you know, discuss baseball as well. And, you know, he said on the last one we did, he said, Daniel, the devil is alive and well.
Absolutely.
And I ended the conversation by saying God is too. And the thing that I feel that people don't understand is this isn't who's going to win, the devil or God. God already won. God made everything. God made the devil. Not made the devil to be the devil, but made the, you know, archangel that became such. And so when you look at God created everything, he already won. The only way that the devil wins anything is by,
if you let him.
Right. And is by taking souls. It's about saying to God, you created this entire family. I'm going to make sure some of your kids don't come home.
Yep.
And that's the thing that can hurt God. But God's already won this whole thing. What I don't understand is this world is so confusing now. There's an identity crisis on many levels. There's total confusion. There's this, nobody knows who they are, what they are, where they came from, where they're going. And in the Bible, the devil attacks identity. And once you lose your identity, you become impressionable. And once you become impressionable, you become controlled. And so it's kind of like, this is the thing that I realized. There's one book in the Bible that I read like page to page, cover to cover, and it was the book of Revelation. And being, having my name Daniel, the namesake of Saint Daniel, obviously I feel a connection to him. Well, Daniel's book is directly connected to the book of Revelation because Daniel is an interpreter of dreams. God sent him a bunch of visions, and Daniel would be confused by them. God would describe to him, this is what I meant, this is what's coming, this is what I need you to do. And I read the book of Revelation, and I sit here today, and I say to myself, in the back of my mind, it's happening. This stuff is going around. It's coming through. This lack of identity. Things that don't make any sense. Things that we never thought, like simple questions on a test when you're writing your name and all that stuff. Like things you check off, things you don't. It just seems like, and everybody's afraid to talk about it, but there was a time where what's happening today would have been crazy. And I said this to my mom and dad. I go, at what point did our child in 8th grade say, I'm not a human being, I'm a cat, and I want to sit in a litter box, and the teacher said, okay, and 2 years ago your child would have been sent to therapy? Where did we get lost in this, like, it's weird to love God, it's weird to be a good person, but it's normal to dress up like a cat and sit in a litter box. And if you say anything about it, you could lose your job. I'm confused as to how we got here.
I can't even begin to tell you how we got there. You could go as far as back as when they took God out of school. You can go as far as back as when, you stopped doing the Pledge of Allegiance in school. You can go as far back as when you stopped saying prayer in school. The more and more you take God out of things, the more and more those type of things start to happen. When we were in school, I went to Catholic high school, even though I'm not Catholic, I'm Baptist. That's another story. My mom put me in Catholic high school, and I fought it as hard as I could because I didn't know the high school, I didn't know it, but it panned out really good for me. But just saying the Lord's Prayer sometimes, we would say the Lord's Prayer at a game. We even did that, at Syracuse. There was still that little bit of ounce of faith that was there. A lot of guys didn't talk about it. A lot of guys didn't show it. A lot of guys didn't go to church, but we always still had that little piece there. So it can go as far back as the rules and regulations that happened back then when they changed those things in school. For me to pinpoint when it actually happened, or for you to pinpoint, we don't know. It's just the world is constantly changing. And like you said, with the book of Revelation, everything that's going on right now, the pandemic, the global impact that's happening, the global warming that's happening everywhere. People always say, when is Jesus coming back? He's coming back real soon. Because everything like you talked about in the book of Revelation, it's happening. It's happening right now. So we may see him back a lot sooner than we think.
I jokingly say this. I joke and not joke when I go, I'm just waiting one day to open the door to go take my trash out, and Jesus is there, and he'd be like, what's up? And I'd be like, you're late. It got crazy already. Jesus, did you see it? And he's like, yeah, that's why I stayed up there another 12 days. I'm not coming down here for this. You kidding me? So, but, I joke around about that all the time. I tell people all the time, I go, I'm going to open the door. Jesus is going to be there. And instead of being like, I'm going to be like, yeah, well, I figured you were coming at some point. I mean, and I say it, my mom's got a strong faith, but she doesn't always, talk about, I shouldn't even say she doesn't talk about certain things, but she doesn't ever say this, like that she thinks Jesus is coming soon. And she was talking to one of her friends, and she's like, yeah, I'm really surprised that God hasn't just thrown another wave at this earth. And I said, I need him to let me know. So, like, you know, before this wave comes, let me get on the ship, because I don't want to drown with all these people that are doing terrible things. But
I mean, that wave was the pandemic, man. Nobody saw that coming. No one in our lifetime, think about it. We never ever thought we would see something like that happen.
No.
I mean, that was a sign right there that he's coming. I mean, think of all the deaths, and I can't even spout the number off the top of my head, but the number of deaths that happened, due to the pandemic. He's making it known to us that he's out there, and that the wave is coming. Him coming back soon. I mean, that was a really scary time for the world, and we just need to make sure that when he comes back, we're all prepared and we're ready.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, and you make a good point there. It was the invisible wave, right? And over 1 million people, and you just look back on that and how crazy that was, and how crazy and how politicized it became, right?
Yep.
How it was like, you can go to Home Depot, but you can't hug your mom. You can go to the coffee shop, but you can't go to church. And it was like, you're going to keep us away from God, but you're going to not keep us from our lattes. Like, it didn't add up. It didn't make sense. They're like, in church, you can't shake hands with anybody, but you can go and protest with 10,000 people, and you can be like literally in everybody's face. And here's the thing too, when people were protesting, nobody got COVID. Everybody breathing on each other, no masks, sweating on each other. Allegedly, according to the news, nobody got COVID. But if you were sitting in your house by yourself, you got phantom COVID. And so, I mean, and I tell people this all the time. I'm like, I'm in the media by definition. Question the media. Because 99.9% of the people that I work around are lying to you. I physically watched it happen. I watched a guy put his arm around a coach's wife, apologize to the coach's wife for his disrespect of her, the coach, and the whole family. I'm sorry for what I did. Can you ever forgive me? And then a couple days later, he came out with an article in the newspaper shaming the entire family after he apologized to her and put his arm around her.
He shamed the entire family?
Yeah, he wrote an article about how she was crazy and this was this and this was that. And it's so after apologizing to the family, he wrote another smut article about the family.
Wow.
And I remember saying, he was one of the only people in the media that I trusted and had any respect for. I lost everything that I had built up over years with him that day because I saw him put his arm around her, apologize to her, beg for her approval, and then he writes how he envisioned or how he saw the last press conference. And it wasn't like that at all. I mean, you literally kicked this guy when he was down.
But did he put his arm around her? Did he apologize because of COVID and he put his arm around her, or did something happen?
Oh no, it wasn't COVID related. It was like the coach was getting fired. And so he was like, hey, just want to let you guys know that, like, I'm sorry, and I tried to do it a certain way, and I never meant to disrespect you, and I appreciate you. And then he wrote an article like, oh, this coach's wife is crazy, and she was yelling in the back of the room, and this was happening and that. And I was like, man, you hurt these people. Yep. And then when you had a chance to write 3 years of hurting these people, you hurt them again. And not only did you hurt them again, but you hurt them after you looked them in the eye and said that you were sorry about it.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, there's evil, and then there's, why don't you just punch your ticket to hell right now? And
well, you look at what Rodney Harrison did this week. I thought the way Chris Jones handled the whole Rodney Harrison to interview, I applaud Chris Jones for the way he did it. He didn't jump on. Rodney Harrison was putting down Josh Wilson and talking bad about him, and Chris Jones didn't fall for the bait. And I that's the part of the media that I can't stand is these guys are ex-players and they just pound on somebody when somebody's having a bad time. But, excuse me. So I applaud Chris Jones for not falling for the bait.
Yeah.
By saying, hey, he's a good guy, and it's guys like Rodney, that give the media a bad name. So, I applaud Chris for handling the way he did it.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is it's just why? You know what I mean? What do you get from that? What do you get from saying, well, this guy sucks and I'm awesome? You know what I mean? And I tell people this all the time. Look back at 9/11, right? They wanted to affect our country. So you knock down 2 towers, you hit the Pentagon, then the other one crashes. When you do that, did Afghanistan get stronger? Did they get better? Did their way of living get better? Did the Middle East living get better? Did anybody's life change? Did they get more money? Were they in a safer environment? No. It was like evil tried to bring down what they considered to be above it, but it doesn't change it. And I tell people this all the time. A bully does not better their life by hurting you. They just bring you down to where they are, but they stay in the basement. It's not like they make you so scared that you quit your job and you go run into your house scared. Well, they don't get your job. 9 times out of 10, they're sitting in their basement, you're in your basement. Evil only seeks to bring everything down. It doesn't seek to raise anything up. And for the life, and I tell people this all the time. Do I joke on my show? Of course I do. Sam Hartman, I covered him at Wake Forest. He's at Notre Dame now. So I called him a traitor, and I said if he ever owned a company, it would be Trader Joe's. I joke around with stuff, but the reality of it all is I'm joking about the fact that Notre Dame had to go find a quarterback in the transfer portal because it's been over 2 decades since they've had a notable quarterback that's advanced to the NFL and been productive. Mm-hmm. I also did it in defense of Wake Forest because Dave Clawson worked so hard and nobody gives him credit. But I wanted to bang it home and continue to tell people I'm talking about a bigger subject of the transfer portal. I'm using Sam as an example, but I don't disrespect Sam Hartman. I have nothing against him. I've interviewed him. I'm saying he's a traitor in stating the fact that he left where he was winning against these big teams or could win against these big teams and went and joined the big teams. And now he left that team that could have gotten the notoriety and the publicity, left that team in shambles. So I use it as an example, but I continuously said, we don't personally attack on the show. That's not what we're doing. I'm not here to hate. I'm trying to have fun and talk about a bigger subject. But if Sam called me up and said, hey man, you called me a traitor, that really hurt my feelings, I would say, Sam, let's get on the show. Let's talk about it. Let's discuss it. I'll apologize. Because personal attacks, there's no place for them. There's no place to have them. I've been personally attacked, and I've had people say to me, what's your response? And I said, my response is I'm not going on that person's show to boost their ratings.
Right.
So, I think in the Zach Wilson scenario, this guy, like anybody else in life, is trying to live his dreams and trying to advance himself in what he loves. If he hated it or if he thought he loved it and he didn't really love it, he would have quit. But he loves it and he shows up every day, which tells me something. When you have thousands of people saying you're crap and he shows up to work every day, what he's telling me is no matter what anybody says, I genuinely love this and I care about this. And my response to the world would be, whatever his stats are at the end of his career, I treat life like a football stadium. There's 70,000 seats. There's 22 players on the field. It is easy to sit in one of 70,000 seats and say that you're going to be better than the 22 people on the field. But what Zach Wilson has on millions of people forever is that he had the balls, the guts, the grit, and the faith to go and chase his dreams while everybody else decided to talk about theirs.
Yeah, and I think the other thing you gotta look at with him is that he realized last year he made a lot of mistakes. Yeah. He made some mistakes at press conferences. He made a lot of mistakes and showing a lot of immaturity for a lot of things that he did last season. And I think what you see right now is a guy that understands, hey, I made those mistakes, but I've got to change my life because I got to change my game. To your point, I do love playing football. I do want to be here. So he's battling through his adversity. He's battling through his change. And that's one area, unfortunately, at sports, is that when you have that adversity and you're actually trying to push through it to do better, not a lot of people get it. Not a lot of people accept it. So, and that's why I say I fault Rodney for doing what he did. But Dan, that's his adversity. And he looks like he understands it now. He's grasping exactly the opportunity that he has available in front of him. And he's trying to do everything he can to fix it.
Yeah, and that's the reality of it all that people don't even want to understand here is even if you're a quarterback in the NFL, you could be the 32nd of 32. As hard as it is to get that job, how many elite quarterbacks are in the NFL? Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence is working toward that. I mean, how many? Jalen Hurts, Mac Jones, right? Last year, yeah, there you go. So, but it's like Mac Jones last year, people are like, give him a shot. This year, they're like, this guy's garbage. He sucks. I hate him. And I'll put it to you like this. I put out a poll. Now, I put out predictions. I've been putting out predictions since I was a kid. Okay? My prediction accuracy on, predicting something that hasn't happened yet, I would say I've been 70-80% lifetime. I feel very good about the predictions that I make because I try to make them with education, right? So I predict the baseball field. I put Brendan Murphy's out, Ross Turetsky's in mine. We all predicted from Wake Up Call, put them out there. Over 3,000 people respond. It's like they didn't even see the other two, which is fine. I'll take the brunt for those guys because none of us picked the Twins. But I picked the Blue Jays, the Diamondbacks, the Phillies, and the Rays. Now, a lot of people did. 3,000 comments over 48 hours of every couple seconds, people saying a response to it. You're an idiot. You're a clown. I hope you're not a sports guy. You don't know baseball. Your bracket's already busted. And none of it was logical because I have the Orioles and the Braves at the end. So besides the Blue Jays, I didn't have anything that was affecting my next round. It's like picking the NCAA tournament and getting 14 out of 16 correct and people going, man, this guy's trash. And even if I got them all wrong, I'm looking at personal attacks, hate messaging, and bullying, and a questioning of my ability to be a broadcaster of 19 plus years because I got 2 teams wrong that I'm confident much of America probably got wrong too.
Yeah, well, you're in the Facebook thing with me, and you see that when people come on our Facebook chat and they start attacking players, I think you see how I reply to that. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. You attacking an 18 or a 19-year-old kid for something that they did on the field, that to me that's another thing that's wrong with the world, is that you can sit back there on your computer, you can attack a kid like crazy because he dropped the ball or did something, but yet still you go to the game, if he was in front of you, you'd be buddy, want to hug and take pictures with him. So that's one thing I think that the media and this whole social Facebook, just all the social outlets that are there.
Yeah,
they opened up the world for people to attack people who they wouldn't personally do it to someone if they were standing in front of your face.
Yeah, and the thing is I look at this stuff, and it was funny because I said something to my dad last night, and I go, I don't even know why I'm talking about it. He goes, me neither. He's like, so what? I said, Dad, 3,000 people. He goes, so what? It's not logical. It's not rational. They don't know you. And the thing is they're attacking you as a human being because you got 2 questions wrong on a test that you didn't have to take.
Right.
And the thing is this Post Standard wrote a story years ago. I picked Syracuse to win the division, or I picked them to win the ACC. It was back in 2016. And I picked them to win the ACC over North Carolina. I was the only person that picked them. And apparently the media flipped out about, we're having issues about it. I posted it on my website for free. And it had been there for 8 days. and then I reposted it on my Twitter, and I get a phone call from the Post Standard, or I get a message from the Post Standard. Hey, Dan, we're writing a story about you. Basically, whether you want us to write it or not, we're going to write it. Do you want to put a quote in? And I said, well, I know these people are going to misrepresent me, misquote me, and do me dirty. So let me write an entire story about why I picked them to win, so that when they write this story, it's because I already know it's going to be manipulated. So they write the story. They write the title headline, Mystery Media Person Reveals Himself. Not a mystery. I put it on my website for free. I posted it to the world numerous times. Nobody was hiding. And I picked Syracuse, and at the time I was married, and my ex-wife was reading through. She said 90% of the comments are good, 10% of them are mean, but there's all these people defending you. I never read a single comment. I was like, I don't care. I'm not going to give it any publicity. So as Syracuse went through the season, they kept winning, and they kept winning, and they kept winning. And my mom goes, oh crap, look at what the Post Standard tried to make you look stupid. And then my dad goes, what are they going to do when you're right? Then me and my dad are down in Houston for the Final Four, and two of the Final Four, Syracuse and North Carolina, the top two teams I picked in the ACC. And my dad said, are they going to do a follow-up article? I said, hell no. And they buried that article like it never happened. So that same guy was at Syracuse football practice this year and was trying to get information out of me, and I responded to him. I finally know what it's like to have coach speak, because that's exactly how I talk to him. I was like Dino Babers talking about an injury. I was like, yeah, good stuff. Yeah, well, what about that guy? Well, butterflies, they fly and stuff, and they're orange, and sometimes they're black and spectacled, and, I think today is going to be a beautiful day. Well, Dan, what do you think about Syracuse? You know what I think? I think I need to get an iced pumpkin spice latte from Starbucks today, and I'm going to enjoy that outside on my patio. I mean, I was like, man, I finally get why Dino does what he does sometimes.
So you pulled the Bill Belichick on him.
Oh, yeah. I hit him with you tried to do me dirty before, and you look stupid. So now I'm going to talk to you about stuff that makes absolutely no sense. And let's see what you can figure out about this. But, I mean, and that's the thing, and I tell people this all the time, because I dated two girls that said to me separately, never met each other, both in college. They both said to me at the end of our relationship, now that we're breaking up, or if we ever break up, can you promise to never tell anybody what I did to you? I said two things. Number one, there was no point of going through this relationship if I can't talk about it now that this craziness is ending. And number two, I have a microphone for a living that God handed to me and said, go do your business. So I tell people that all the time. I'm like, you can do whatever you want to do to me, but I'm going to talk about it. And if you listen to the show and you go, I wonder if he's talking about me. Yeah. Yeah. But the thing, I mean, the reality is, all jokes aside, people do things, right? And they criticize people for things. And when you're right, like in the case of predictions, going back to that for an example, when I'm right on my predictions 80% of the time, crickets. Mm-hmm. When I'm wrong once or twice, oh my God, this is why Dan Tortora should never predict anything. And I'm like, where were you? I predicted the Arizona Diamondbacks. Who predicted them? Me and three people? But nobody said a boo about the Diamondbacks. It was just Rays, Jays. And I was like, okay, well, y'all must be Texas Ranger fans, but who thought that Tampa Bay Rays were going to do nothing in a 2-game series when they were almost the number one team in the American League? They had 99 wins this year, and they won without Wander Franco. They won without their, golden child who they thought was going to be their future. So, I mean...
What do you think? You're picking the Braves over my Phillies?
So here's the thing. This as a broadcaster, I believe in impartiality, right? Okay. So I'm a Diamondbacks fan. Love my Diamondbacks. Got stuff all over my studio, all around here. So I'm a huge Diamondbacks fan, but I believe in impartiality. I believe it's a cardinal sin to walk in and say, I'm going to pick the Diamondbacks every single time because I think it messes with your credibility. So, I do I believe, this is what I'm going to tell you, do I believe that the Phillies and the Diamondbacks can advance to play each other? I do, because it's really hard to play a divisional opponent as many times as they play each other, and everyone's going to pick the Dodgers, right? And a lot of people are going to pick the Braves. I believe the Phillies can beat the Braves, and I believe the Diamondbacks can beat the Dodgers. I don't have a lot of thought that the Twins are going to advance, but the Twins could advance, and the Twins could turn around and put themselves in good footing. I would love to see Orioles Diamondbacks. I think the Phillies have the capability of moving forward, and I think that they've been counted out a lot of times, which is why I think the Diamondbacks have the opportunity too, because all I heard all season long was the Diamondbacks are trash. They're leading the division, they're trash. They had to literally, in order to get into the playoffs, they had like 15 games left. They had to go through series with all of these teams that were either above them at the top of their divisions or the teams that were right in the wild card. They had to beat the Cubs to knock them out, beat the Reds to knock them out. They had to earn their spot in a way where other teams maybe didn't have to play as tough of a schedule. They had to run a gamut those last couple weeks, 2-3 weeks, to get in, and they earned their right to be in there. I think that people underestimate them, and I love that. So, do I think the Phillies can beat the Braves? Yes. I picked the Braves and the Orioles not because I went chalk. I really want to, I want to believe the Orioles can do it this year. And on the other side of it with the Braves, I just believe they've been the best team in baseball for a long time this season. But if you're asking me when Saturday comes around what I'm going to be hoping for, I want Phillies Diamondbacks because I got a buddy, Danny, and he's a Phillies fan, and I'm a Diamondback fan, and we said we would go to the game. So I want to go see these games with him. He told me if we go to Philly and I wear a Diamondbacks anything and they win, he said, you are on your own.
No. See, and I got to jump off in a minute, Dan, but let me just settle this right now because I get this all the time. I take friends of mine who are 49ers fans, Commanders fans, Giant fans, all those fans to Eagles games. Nobody bothers them. Is it because I'm a big guy and all my friends around me are big guys? Probably. But if you go into any opposing stadium, acting like a fool, acting like an idiot, causing a scene, causing a ruckus, something's going to happen to you. So let me stop your buddy right now, because you can go to the Phillies game with me on Saturday. You can wear your Diamondback stuff, and if you win, I can guarantee you right now, live on national radio around the world, nobody will bother.
All right. Well, I appreciate that, and I may have to take you up on that. But I know what I'm going to be hoping for, and yeah, I mean, impartial broadcaster, I wrote Orioles Braves. What I want the Diamondbacks to move on, and I think the Phillies can. So let's see what happens. Let's have some fun with it. Kevin, I feel like everywhere we went made me want to go somewhere else. And
I know, same here. We didn't get a chance to talk with the team this year, and let's follow that later on. I was, when Gatson went down, that really that was a big bummer for us. Real quick, I saw resilient last week against Clemson. Yeah. In the years past, I think that the guys would kind of maybe not have given the full effort and kind of pulled back. I saw a team that fought the entire game. So I'm really optimistic as now we get into the swing of the ACC games. That's what's going to happen. I'm looking forward to seeing the game tomorrow. I'm a believer. I'm a believer. You and I have had this conversation of the past 3 or 4 years. I'm really a believer of what Dino's put together right now. These young guys are playing hard. I love our offense. I love our defense. At one point in time, even the beginning of the season, I was saying we have the smallest defensive line in America when you look at our nose guard. But those guys have a motor. They play hard every play. They don't give up. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the balance of this season goes.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. And, Garrett Schrader, I can always say this when you check the tape, Never said the man can't throw, never dogged a guy. I have been a believer and hopeful in him, and I think that he is a huge asset to this team in such a big way. Defensively, there's so much talent, guys stepping up, reloading. The secondary used to be the weakest link, and now it's been one of the strongest pieces of the team, and it's never rebuild, it's reload. Marlo Wax Jr., everything he's doing at linebacker, the guys that are going in there filling in at defensive line, the offensive linemen creating opportunities, LaQuint Allen being LaQuint Allen, my guy Brady Denenberg from Merritt Island down in Florida doing what he's doing on kickoffs and booting it through the uprights. And he misses one field goal after he makes all these field goals, and what does the media say? Mm-hmm. Are you concerned that he can't make a field? No, he missed one. My Lord. I mean, let the man breathe for a minute. So, yeah, I do think this is a bowl team, and I hope that they, continue to keep their foot on the pedal, because I think a lot of people are going to underestimate them. But yeah, I mean, Syracuse, they got dogs on this team, and if you got to know these people personally, like I have, it would be so hard to not be a fan of the gentlemen that are on the squad.
Got it. Love you, dude. We'll catch up again soon. You will be getting your text messages again all next week going forward. I love what you're doing for the program. I love who you are as a person, and let's keep in touch.
Sounds good, Kevin. I love you back, and I appreciate everything that you give, and I can't thank you for the person that you are enough.
See you, buddy.
Take care.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville beats. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success at Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career, it's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there, and of course you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100, and also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Kampground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Kampground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Kampground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9Kampground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and Kampground spelled with a K.com. K9Kampground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Kampground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout central and upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. This is a special message from 317 at Montgomery restaurant owner Joel Carpenter. Open Tuesday through Saturday for your dining pleasure on 317 Montgomery Street in Syracuse, New York.
We wanted to be a part of the resurgence of Syracuse. We saw a lot of money being put into bringing people back downtown and thought that, we'd like to be a part of that. I love putting together a good dish where people see it first, they fall in love with it, and then it tastes just as good as it looks. We want to provide the best food in Syracuse that we possibly can, and we want you to leave here talking to your family, your friends about what you had to eat first and foremost, but also our service, and to walk out feeling like you're part of our family. I work out in the front of the house a lot, and I love walking to every single table, asking them how everything is, and people looking at me and smiling and saying, this is the most amazing short rib I've ever had. This is the most amazing filet I've ever had. And Donna is great. Sarah's amazing. Thank you for coming over and talking to us. And then them just being truly happy for the experience that they've gotten.
317 at Montgomery Restaurant, part of the fabric of downtown Syracuse, located on 317 Montgomery Street in Syracuse, New York. Open Tuesday through Saturday for a unique and memorable dining experience. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. I want to thank you for being a part of the show every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT and on WakeUpCallDT.podbean.com. And of course, once the shows go live, they jump into the archive on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, YouTube, and more. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on your favorite podcasting platform. Or one word, Wake Up Call DT. A big time thanks to our incredible partners, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Breaks, Mon Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Chick-fil-A Clay, 317 at Montgomery Street, the name of the restaurant is the name of the location in downtown Syracuse, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Avicoli's, Canine Kampground Dog Boarding, PB&J's Lunchbox, Pizza Man, Great Lakes Honda City, and Mother's Cupboard. Make sure you head out to Carvel today to get my signature DT Dolphin Sundae.
with the ode to the Lemoyne Dolphins that are right down the road from Carvel DeWitt. It is mint chocolate chip ice cream, Greene for the Dolphins, topped off with hot fudge, whipped cream, cherry, green and gold sprinkles for the Dolphins, and a chocolate dolphin jumping out of your whipped cream. And at Mother's Cupboard, my Cuse McMother, my sandwich that you can get there 7 days a week by going there anytime between 6 a.m. and 1:30 p.m. daily on 3709 James Street in Syracuse, New York. Get the Cuse McMother, bacon, egg, and cheese inside of 2 pieces of French toast. Cut it up and eat it with syrup. Pick it up and eat it like a sandwich. And go out and grab all of those today. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and Dan Tortora Broadcast Media are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of the Lemoyne College Dolphins. It's Fins Up every single month on Wake Up Call. And Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time are Dolphin Time. And every single every first and third Wednesday of each month, you'll find AD and DT with Athletics Director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora. Every second and fourth Wednesday, the Dolphin Dive, diving into stories of student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni. You can get all of our Dolphin content by subscribing to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, and checking out our Lemoyne playlist on our YouTube channel. For more information, go to LemoyneDolphins.com, and as always, Fins Up. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and Dan Tortora Broadcast Media. The Bobcat Buzz comes to you every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration all throughout the year, telling the Bobcat story, which is unique, special, and truly creative at Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse. You can hear from your Bobcats in a very special multi-part series that's coming up here very, very soon. You got to stay close to all of our wonderful channels and connect to Wake Up Call on social media to find out when that's coming up. And of course, subscribe to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. When you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you can check out the BSC Syracuse playlist, which has our Bobcat Buzz archive. And there is plenty more coming up. Trust me, you're not going to want to miss a second of this. For more information, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com. And as always, go Bobcats. The Alfred University Saxons are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and Dan Tortora Broadcast Media. Find your Saxons during Saxon Time every Monday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. The Presidential Perspective comes to you every first and third Monday with President Mark Zupan of Alfred University, touching on pertinent topics of the times and showing what it truly means to be a president that has a personal touch and connection with alumni, current students, and prospective students as well. Mark Zupan doing an incredible job at Alfred University to show us what leadership truly means. Every second and fourth Monday, the Saxon Spotlight, spotlighting student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni throughout the year. You can check out all of our content with the Saxons by subscribing to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. And when you find your Saxons there, you can go to the Alfred University playlist on our YouTube channel and connect with our archive and everything that is to come. As always, go Saxons, just like the website tells you, which is gosaxons.com. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I hope you have a terrific day. I want to thank my very wonderful guest, Kevin Greene, for joining the show here today. I want to thank Carvel DeWitt for the annoying moment of the week, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay for lead, learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver. Make sure you go to Chick-fil-A Clay, as Chick-fil-A Cicero is closed for the month of October for refurbishment. The top dog of the week, proudly presented by Canine Kamp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding. And I want to make a note here and let you all know once again, as much as we talk about things, I've spoken about the media, I've addressed certain things that have happened in my history with certain places and connections in the media and in general in life. In no way, shape, or form does Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora or Dan Tortora Broadcast Media look to discriminate, disrespect, or single out and treat someone poorly. It has been done to me. We will not do that to you. I do tell stories and I do tell the truth. So we did mention the media outlet that wrote an article about me that was very wrongly represented, but that is the truth, and spreading that, and that's the only thing that I seek to spread. But we do not spread personal attacks and negativity and hate speech toward people and bullying. I don't believe in it. I never have. And because I don't like bullies, I'm willing to speak up, and I hope you are too. Let's do things peacefully, confidently, kindly, and with God at the center of everything. And let's try to eradicate bullying as best as we possibly can, because nobody deserves to feel like less of a human being or less of anything than anybody else. With that being stated, Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, also known as X now, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT, and as always, God bless, no stress, do your best.